Who's right now out of Northern Virginia. Tonight, some breaking news. Manassas Park Police say
as some of you already are aware, today we
with the murder in connection to his wife's disappearance. We want to get right to a live press conference.
First-degree murder and defiling a body. This indictment stems from Monta Koffler's disappearance back on July 29th of this year. The grand jury agreed with the detectives today that there was enough evidence to charge the defendant in this case. There was a lot of evidence that was obtained during this investigation, and in the last couple months we've been receiving it, and that's kind of what triggered today's grand jury and the indictments. He will be officially charged tomorrow in court. I believe the hearing's at 10 a.m. I'm willing to take any questions. At the end, I'd like to thank my staff for all they did too. So I'm willing to take some questions.
What changed since the last indictment?
Excuse me?
What changed since the last indictment? Why now are you charging?
The evidence returned.
And have you found your body?
No, we have not.
Can you share what evidence led to that change?
Well, the bigger one was the DNA.
Can you share anything more specific than that?
The DNA returned back to.
From where?
From the residence.
What part of the home specifically, and what kind of DNA did you find?
The blood.
Can you share any more details?
The blood that they described in court, that she was drugged from one room to the other, from the bedroom into the bathroom.
So we had already previously known that blood had been, what changed now? What brought about these charges at this point, considering we knew the blood was there previously?
Yeah, but now the blood matches hers.
When did you get the DNA results back?
Last month.
Last month. But you only upgraded the charge today?
But that's when the first grand jury.
Gotcha.
Wait, so Chief, is it fair to say that it took about 4 months to match her DNA that was found in the home?
Well,
I don't understand the timeline.
Yeah, so basically, you get the blood, you got to determine his blood, so you got to send it off to the lab first for that. And my understanding, once they get that returned that it's blood, then they send that off for the DNA testing to occur. They can't do it both at the same time.
Chief, obviously you don't need a body to charge for murder, but getting this DNA back, how important is this to not only your department but the family here to have this extra piece of evidence?
From the beginning, we believed that she was murdered in the case based on the crime scene. This just helps the case, and it kind of certifies what we thought occurred, that this actually occurred.
Chief, for folks not familiar with this case, can you just lay out what evidence you found that led you to this, where we are today?
There's a lot of evidence. To sit here and try to remember every piece of it. I know the crime scene was a big one. The forensic unit of Prince William County said it was one of the worst crime scenes they've seen. That was one statement they made to the day that Naresh was arrested. And I think I spoke to the family earlier and told them, I'm sorry they found out the nature they did today by the courts posting it before I had an opportunity to talk to them. But they're aware of it. They asked some questions, and if they feel compelled to come up here and talk to you, that'd be fine. But they're aware of what happened, and they're grateful for what we've done.
Did Naresh say that was the body, how he murders anything? Did Naresh say what is the body, how he killed?
Has Naresh told us? No, Naresh has the lawyers.
We
We have not talked to Naresh.
So Chief, again, to be clear, so we don't have a body, but the reason why we're getting these additional charges because the evidence of the blood that was found in the home has come back positive as Monta's, correct?
Yes.
Do you have concerns in this case because there is no body that could create some problems for the prosecution here?
We've been in close contact with the prosecution on this case, providing all the evidence. They felt confident taking to the grand jury today, and we got a true indictment, which I feel we have a strong case for not having a body.
Are you able just to speak? I know the searches have been ongoing. You guys have, requested a number of warrants. Kind of give us an update on that. Where are we with that in the search for her actual body as well? I know you've searched different parks and forests and woods. We had the Tesla that was also taken. So,
we've gotten over 40 warrants. That's just subpoenas, search warrants, court orders. We've also searched approximately 20 locations throughout Northern Virginia, Prince William County, Manassas Park, Fairfax County, and Loudoun County. And we also went to Page County.
All right, we are following breaking news from Manassas Park. You're listening to the chief right now. He is talking about Naresh Bhatt. He is the husband of a woman who has been missing since July, Mamta Kafli Bhatt. The new evidence, the chief is saying, has determined that the grand jury has been able to now indict Naresh Bhatt of murder. The chief saying that all of the blood that came back from the crime scene, which is the Manassas Park home, did come back and is matched with Mamta Kafli Bhatt's DNA. The huge development here. For much of this time, Naresh Bhatt had only been charged with concealing a body.
And we know that the police chief there telling reporters that they had believed that this was a murder since the very beginning. The reason it took so long for this indictment, of course, was getting that DNA evidence back, which he had said takes some time to go through all the testing. So we'll have more on this story coming up tonight on DC News Now at 9 and 10 o'clock, so you can stay with us for more updates out of that case.
So we just watched the press conference out of the Naresh Bhatt case out of Prince William County, Manassas Park. And the chief of police out of Manassas Park tells you, we believed that this was a murder from the beginning. What do you mean from the beginning? Before you got any piece of evidence? And then he goes on and tells you, we have DNA evidence. And then when he's asked about the details, he says, I don't have the details. But I can tell you the DNA evidence is DNA from the bedroom to the bathroom. All right. You have DNA evidence from the bedroom to the bathroom. Anywhere else in the house? Was this body dragged outside the house? No, it just disappeared in the bathroom. Interesting. I mean, you want to talk about a murder that took place inside of a house? You would have DNA in the bathroom. You would have DNA in the bedroom. You would have DNA in the bathroom. You would have DNA of this body being dragged out of the house. No, they tell you no. We just have DNA in the bedroom and in the bathroom. Now, other articles, other details coming out of this case, they tell you we don't have actual DNA. We have hair samples. Wait a minute. You'll come out with a press conference talking about DNA. Now you're talking about hair samples. And now you're telling us you haven't found a body. There is no body. This is the case out of Naresh Bhatt. And now they're updating the community. This is Naresh Bhatt. We have an article updating the community on this case. And we're going to get into this article. And what they're telling us is going on out of this case. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Before we dive into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, I want to cover what's going on out of our county. I mean, what's coming out of our county is ridiculous. This man is being charged with murder. There's no body, and there's no evidence that he committed this murder. They tell you, we believe this is a murder. So you're telling me that Naresh Bhatt sits in a county jail for over 2 years with no trial, and the details that are coming out of this case, there's no evidence that he committed this murder? You can't FOIA request any piece of evidence out of this case. You're essentially left with what they're telling you. They tell you there's DNA. There should be DNA. You're supposed to just take their word for it. And then Naresh Bhatt sits in a county jail. And you can't verify anything that's coming out of this county. Essentially, you're left with what they're telling you. One day they tell you there's DNA. One day they tell you there's just hair samples. You know, I find it interesting that they're even doing a press conference for Naresh Bhatt. And you compare that with the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I mean, they come out and talk about Naresh Bhatt. But they're terrified to come out and talk about Mustafa. Julie Carey with NBC4 covered the Mustafa Al-Jazari case just about 4 times. And once the file was leaked on the internet, she's nowhere to be found. She had no problem reporting on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case and telling you what the police essentially said, where the police falsified the whole entire case. They say that Mustafa crashed the vehicle on purpose. They tell you that Mustafa murdered his family in a car, crashing the vehicle on purpose. They tell you that Mustafa was arguing inside the vehicle. But the police department sealed off the whole case. And Julie Carey ran with the story. Not once, not twice, 4 times she covered Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And then I steal the file, the police body cams, the document, the dash camera that's in Mustafa's car, and I leak it on the internet. Now, Julie Carey is nowhere to be found. They're no longer updating you on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I mean, ask yourself why. Why is this county not updating you on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Oh, that's right, the file is leaked. The minute they lie about Mustafa, you can verify it with the body cam that's leaked on the internet, the document that's leaked on the internet, the dash camera that's in Mustafa's car. They want to tell you there is an argument inside the vehicle. But they hide the dash camera. Oh, that's right. Now the dash camera is on the internet. And you can see there is no argument inside the vehicle. They hide the dash camera because Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a cigarette 8 times. How could they be arguing if they're passing back and forth a cigarette 8 times? They charged Mustafa essentially with a DUI. Wait a minute, Mustafa's toxicology report show no alcohol and no drugs. So what did you do charging Mustafa with a DUI from April 7, 2023, all the way to October? And the minute that we provide the police department with evidence that Mustafa's statement was falsified by Robert Drum, the Commonwealth attorney gets angry. Within 5 days, she upgrades it to murder. Now Mustafa's being charged with murder. How dare you have evidence against my police department that he falsified Mustafa's statement? Mustafa is now being charged with murder. This is Mustafa's toxicology report. And it shows no alcohol and no drugs. Blood alcohol non-detected. THC 0.0003. No drugs in his system. And then when you watch the dash camera, you see that Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a cigarette 8 times. Dorothy has cancer. Dorothy smokes hemp. Hemp does not have any drugs. And they're passing that cigarette back and forth 8 times. Commonwealth's Amy Ashworth hides the dash camera from this community because the minute you see this dash camera, you realize that Commonwealth Amy Ashworth lied to you. She tells you there's a heated argument inside the vehicle, that they're arguing inside the vehicle. And then when you see the dash camera, I mean, at one point, Dorothy grabs Mustafa's fingers. She feels Mustafa's fingers as she's grabbing that cigarette. Dorothy loved Mustafa. There is no argument inside the vehicle. And the dash camera verifies it. Go to the dash camera. Go through it. And if you find that there's an argument inside the vehicle, I'm going to shut down this channel. I will no longer come out and talk about Mustafa. I will no longer come out and talk about what this county is doing. I'll shut down the whole channel. Show me where Mustafa and Dorothy were arguing inside the vehicle. The dash camera is stolen from the Commonwealth attorney and it's posted on the internet. Before we dive into the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, let's go back into the Naresh Bhatt case. And my question to this community, the police department and the Commonwealth Attorney has no problem updating you on the Naresh Bhatt case. The Naresh Bhatt case is also sealed. You can't FOIA any document. You can't FOIA any body cam. You can't FOIA any piece of information out of this case. And the details that are being leaked out of this case stinks. Nothing showed that this man murdered his wife. Naresh Bhatt is an Indian man. He's not your average Indian man. He's not your average 7-Eleven Indian man. This man served this country. He was in the military, served this country. Naresh Bhatt used to be a Fairfax County police officer. Not a lot of people know that. He went back home, married a girl, brought her here. And the details coming out of that relationship is that girl goes on multiple dating sites. She's tired from the being married. She would have relationships. She would disappear with like random people. And it's not her first time disappearing and leaving her baby with Naresh Bhatt. And one day, she just disappeared altogether. How do we know this girl that Naresh Bhatt brought over from India didn't just run away, leave, tired from being married? She wanted to go out and have an adventure. How do we know that? There's no evidence that he murdered her. There's no body. There is no goddamn DNA. And this man is held in a county jail for 2 years without evidence. You know how terrifying that is? To live in Prince William County, and one day, after serving your country, not only in the military, but serving your country as a police officer, go back home, get married, bring the girl here, and then all of a sudden the girl gets tired, leaves, and now you're being charged with her murder with no evidence. You know how terrifying? I don't think a lot of people realize how terrifying this is. For the government to hold you in jail without evidence. On a hunch, we believe that you murdered your wife. That's what the chief of police in a press conference said. Now, what I find really disturbing, Naresh Bhatt, essentially, the case is not, the file is not on the internet. You can't look at the body cams. You can't FOIA request any document. You can't verify anything. The file is sealed. They have no problem updating you on the Naresh Bhatt case because they can essentially tell you whatever they want and you can't verify anything. So they have no problem updating you, telling you Naresh Bhatt has been sitting in a county jail for over 2 years, and we've pushed his case all the way into next year. They have no problem updating you that. They'll tell you we have DNA evidence. They'll tell you we have a flying unicorn that saw Naresh Bhatt murdered his wife. That's our witness. You can't verify anything. So they'll update you on the Naresh Bhatt case. But when Mustafa's case, they're not going to update you. Mustafa's been sitting in a county jail for over 2.5 years. And this community is not being updated on why and when Mustafa is going to have trial, that his trial got pushed all the way into next year. They're no longer updating you because I stole the file from the Commonwealth Attorney and it's leaked on the internet. The minute they update you on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case and tell you Mustafa trial got pushed into next year, you're going to remember, oh, that's right, Mustafa. I heard about Mustafa. I heard about Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Let me go ahead and Google his name, and all these body cams are going to pop up on the YouTube channel where the body cams is leaked. And you're going to be like, not another boring podcast. YouTube, body cams, documents. oh shit, the police department falsified the whole entire case. This is a vehicle accident. They falsified his case. They crushed and staged his vehicle. They cut and muted the dash camera. Oh, that's right. There's a document that says they have the audio to the dash camera. But they've been telling us there is no audio. We're getting a lip reader. There's an argument inside the vehicle. I'm not seeing an argument. And then you go through the rest of the body cam, you find out that the police department brought in individuals that manufactured probable cause. Lied about Mustafa. Each one of those individuals would lie about Mustafa, and then when they're specifically asked, were you there? Did you see this yourself? They tell you no. And they essentially play a game of ping pong. Individual 1 would say, no, I'm getting my information from individual 2. You open the body cam for individual 2. They tell you, no, I'm getting my information. After lying about Mustafa, they tell you, I'm getting my information from individual 3. Individual 3, when you open that body cam, they tell you, I'm getting my information from individual 1. And essentially play a game of ping pong. The police department brought an individual that hate Mustafa and allowed them to lie about Mustafa. And you can verify that in the body cam. That's why they're not updating you on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. But they have no problem updating you on the Niraj Bhat story. You can't verify anything out of this story. So they tell you, this is what our headline. So our local paper is Inside Nova. If you go on Inside Nova, InsideNova.com, that's our local paper. And it sure feels I'm advertising our local paper. Well, we can't FOIA request anything. We're left with what the police department is telling us and what our local paper, who they run with the police department, lies. And essentially, that's all you're left with. And tell me how that's living in a safe community when you can't verify anything they tell you. This article reads, murder trial delayed in mind-blowing, in quotes, development of Mamta Kafil Bhat case. This is Niraj Bhat. This article reads, the trial of Niraj Bhat has been pushed back by over a year, offering a fresh setback to supporters and community activists seeking swift justice following the disappearance of Niraj's wife, Mamta Kafil Bhat, a Manassas Park nurse and mother, nearly 1 year ago. Niraj Bhat, who faces 3 combined charges of first-degree murder, concealment of a dead body, and physical defilement of a dead body, and his wife's July 2024 disappearance, will remain in police custody until at least October 2026. So he's being charged with all these crimes when there is no body and there is no evidence against him that he murdered his wife. Interesting. The trial was originally scheduled to begin in September, but is planned for October next year, with a pre-trial conference set for September 10/26. Kimberly A. Irving, a Prince William County circuit judge, appeared initially baffled by the defense request for the lengthy delay, but she ultimately granted the continuance after the prosecution acquiesced, I'm butchering this word, citing its busy schedule. Now, you'll be interested to find out, and this is a conversation for another day. Kimberly A. Irving is a judge in Prince William County. This is the head judge of all the judges in circuit court in Prince William County. You'll be interested to find out that her husband owns the largest firm in Prince William County. Tell me how this makes sense. You own the largest firm. You're the biggest lawyer. You have multiple lawyers working for you. You have a large firm within our county, and your wife is the head judge. I mean, I like to picture and imagine at night before you go to sleep, do you talk about your cases? Is Judge Kimberly Irving doing you favors? If you have the right amount of money, you'll go to that lawyer, Irving, and pay him whatever, so he'll cut you a deal with his wife, the head judge. Is that what's happening out of our county? I mean, you want to tell me that's not a conflict of interest? I mean, this is a conversation for another day, and we're going to take a deep dive and go through this rabbit hole. How is it that your wife is a judge, the head judge out of our county in circuit court, and you have the largest firm in our county, and that's not a conflict of interest? Tell me that this county is not corrupt without telling me that this county is not corrupt. This is corruption, and it says all over it. Conversation for another podcast. And if you're tuning in, do your own research. Reach out to us, give us information, ask questions, tell us what you want us to cover. This is a can of worms that once you open it, it is a can of worms. I mean, the writing is all over the wall. This county is corrupt. All right, let's continue reading the article. Addressing Shaliv Ben Avraham, Senior Assistant Public Defender, Director from the bench, Irving was perplexed by the request, deeming it mind-blowing that the trial could take place over 2 years following the filing of the initial charges against Narash Bhat last August. It's either he murdered his wife or he didn't murder his wife. Either you have evidence or you don't have evidence, and you falsely accused this man with no evidence. What the hell is taking over 2 years? Why is it taking 2 years? And by the way, Narash Bhat is denied bond. They're terrified that they're going to give him a bond and he's going to come out and talk about what they're doing to him in his case. So what do? They deny him a bond. All right, so the article continues. That level of grief. Narash Bhat was arrested August 22 in connection with the disappearance of Mamta Kafal Bhat and charged with concealing a dead body, a body that they never found. He was then arraigned December 4th on the murder and defilement charges accompanying the prior concealment charge. Mamta Bhat's body or remains have not been located. All right, we have a really important phone call. We'll take it after the podcast. All right, so we'll take that phone call after the podcast. All right, so we continue the article. That level of grief. Narash Bhat was arrested August 22 in connection with the disappearance of Mamta Kafal Bhat and charged with concealment of a dead body. He was then arraigned December 4th on the murder and defilement charges accompanying the prior concealment charge. Mamta Bhat body or remains have not been located despite Manassas Park police conducting some 50 searches in the area since last fall. Maybe she just ran away. Maybe she just got tired of being in a relationship and ran away. She wants to have an adventure. It's possible? Yeah, it's possible. She's been on multiple sites, dating sites before. She disappears with random men, leaves the baby behind, and this time she left and never came back. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. Maybe the person that she ran away with murdered her. But to have this man sit in a county jail with no evidence, that's terrifying. All right, so the article continues. In prefacing his motion for a continuance at the outset of Friday hearing, Ben Avraham said he was deeply sorry for everything going on with Mamta's family. He added he can't imagine the level of grief. Mamta Bhatt's mother, Geeta Gaffel, and brother, Mihish Gaffel, arrived stateside last October and plan to stay for the foreseeable future as they continue to care for Mamta's infant daughter, Nima. Given the 24 expert witnesses set to take the stand on behalf of the prosecutions, Deputy Commonwealth Attorney Matthew Sweet and Senior Assistant Commonwealth Attorney Sarah Sammy is right here. Ben Avraham said he needed more time to peruse through the mountains of data included in discovery, which Sweet and Sammy provided February 18, the prosecution additional data earlier this month. So they're still adding details to this case. You have no evidence, so you're just sitting there manufacturing. I mean, this is funny. You have no evidence against this man that he murdered his wife. What you do is manufacture evidence into this case, and they tell you we have 24 expert witnesses. Expert witnesses to what? I mean, at one point, the details that's coming out of this case is they have the media reporter who interviewed Naresh Bhatt that's being called into the case as a witness. Wait a minute. You're just randomly bringing in people that didn't see a murder take place, didn't see anything take place, and you want to call them witnesses. And you're still adding to this case as early as February of this year, February 18. And you're just going to keep manufacturing, and you're going to have this shotgun approach, and hopefully, you can convict this man with no evidence. Not even a goddamn body. This is Sarah Sammy, just so we know who we're talking about. This is Sarah Sammy. Okay. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is prosecuting Naresh Bhatt with no evidence. Interesting. Let's see. All right. Ben Avraham. All right, let's go back and continue reading the article. Ben Avraham added he would have liked to suggest July 2026 instead of October 2026. But Sweet and Sammy, full itineraries, including a murder trial for Sweet between June and July, prevented them from starting at that time. Scheduling issue notwithstanding, both sides maintained a focus on respecting Naresh Bhatt. This is funny. They want to respect Naresh Bhatt constitutional rights to due process. How? You've held this man over 2 years on with no evidence, denied him a bond, and you're manufacturing details on his case. You've sealed this case from the community. They can't verify any details coming out of this case, and you want to talk about respecting his constitutional rights to due process. You've outdone yourself, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy. Apparently, you have a habit of doing this in our county. While Sarah Sammy said the prosecution remains prepared for September 2025, she's ready to take this to trial. She underscored her and Sweet's desire to avoid any appealable issues. This prosecutor is ready to go. She's telling everybody, let me at him. Let me at him. I want to go to trial. With no evidence? You have no evidence in this case. You've held this man for 2 years. You don't even have a goddamn body or DNA evidence that he actually murdered his wife. Evidence scheduled, jury selection. Judge Irving, who has her husband that has the largest firm in the same county, Judge Irving determined there would be 5 weeks devoted to the presentations of evidence. All right, 5 weeks, 4 for the prosecution and 1 for the defense. 4 for the prosecutions. How much evidence are you manufacturing in the Narash Bot that you're bringing 4 weeks of evidence? What evidence do you have? Oh, that's right. You're bringing in random people to just testify, but they haven't actually seen or witnessed a murder. Even the goddamn reporter from the news is being brought in as a witness. While the trial is tentatively set to end on November 13, 2026, after 6 weeks, Irving directed both sides to block off 7 weeks from October 5th through November 19, 2026, in case of an unforeseen extension of the proceeding. Additionally, 1 week will be devoted to the voir dire process. This is the jury selection in the early stage of the trial, by which impartial jurors will be selected from 300 citizens subpoenaed for jury duty. During Friday hearing, Irving twice cited Smith versus Arizona, a 2024 Supreme Court case pertaining to the Confrontation Clause in the U.S. Constitutional Sixth Amendment, which guarantees a criminal defendant right to confront the witnesses against him and cross-examine them for merits and credibility. Great. Narash Bhat is going to be able to cross-examine the witnesses that are being brought into this case. So he's going to talk to the reporter that interviewed him. That's the witness? All right. So he's going to cross-examine. All right. Wearing an orange jumpsuit and a clean-shaved, Narash Bhat did not immediately answer when Irving inquired whether he accepted the term of the continuance to October 2026. Well, obviously, he's upset. He wants to go to trial. And they're telling him the prosecutor is just manufacturing probable cause into your case, bringing in random people that are not witnesses, and she's using this shotgun approach. Hopefully, it sticks. Obviously, he's upset. Following further discussion with Ben Avraham, that's his attorney, via a Nepal's interpreter, Bhat nodded his head in approval. What else can he do? He said, sure. A bitter after-state feeling defeated at a news conference outside the Prince William County Judicial Center following the hearing. Holly Worth. Who are you, lady? We have Holly Worth. All right. Who the hell is Holly Worth? Let's find out. A former co-worker of an advocate for Mamta Kafal Bhat. So, let me get this right. A former co-worker of an advocate for the wife. You don't know Narash Bhat. You don't know the wife. You're a co-worker of an advocate. All right, so now people are just jumping in, and they want to be part of the media frenzy that Prince William County created. I mean, at one point, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth comes out on the news, and she says, that's all she says, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. That's all you said, lady. I kid you not. Look her up. Amy Ashworth, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, Prince William County. That's what she says in the Narash Bhat. That's all she... Well, of course you don't know. But you're charging this man with murder. And your Commonwealth attorney comes out and says, we don't know. Let me do that to you, ma'am. Let me put you in a county jail and manufacture probable cause and tell me how you would feel. Would you be okay with that? But you have no problem doing it to this man, Narash Bhat. You don't care. You have no idea. You don't care doing it to Mustafa Al-Jazari, Michael Davis, and a whole list of individuals that you put in your county jail and you violate their due process without evidence. And your jail abused them so they can just accept your plea deal. You're on a county jail. It's a conversation for another day. That's another can of worms once you open it. The details the horrific details to it that will come out of our county jail and what this Commonwealth attorney is doing. It's horrific. Just to get her plea deals, because she doesn't have a case against these people. So what does she do? She put them in jail and she tortures them so that way they accept her plea deal. It's terrifying. All right, so Holly Worth. All right, so let's continue and find out about Holly Worth. What does Holly have to tell us? We're profoundly disappointed in the actions of Mr. Sweet and Miss Sammy. Said it came out in court. And I think anyone who was there saw Judge Irving was not really comfortable with granting a continuance of this magnitude. With continued as a loved. Okay, so Holly continues. As a loved one and family members of the victim, we feel quite. Later, you don't even know the victim. You don't even know Naresh Bhatt. You're a co-worker of an advocate. What are you talking about? As a loved one and family member of the victim, we feel quite defeated by the Commonwealth agreed so readily to the amount of a delay. I think more shockingly was the delay. Not only was it from July, which the defense proposed, but the prosecution actually wanted it to go out to October. Angel Rodas. Who the hell are you, lady? We have another character here. All right? Angel Rodas. A domestic violence survivor. A fellow. Is that her? Oh, God. This is her. A random people that wants to be involved in this media frenzy. All right, Sarah Sammy. Now you've outdone yourself. Now you're bringing in random people to draw emotion on a case that you have no evidence to prosecute this man. I mean, look at her. Would you not believe her? Look at Holly. I mean, what's the difference between Holly and our friend Evelyn Horton, who is on a body cam lying about Mustafa? Where are you, Evelyn Horton? Look at our Evelyn Horton, our beautiful, beautiful sweetheart. They bring you an old lady to draw emotion. And then when you open the body cam, this alleged witness, Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hobson, you find out she says, I don't know Mustafa. I don't know Dorothy. I wasn't there. But she's lying about Mustafa. And here we are finding it again in the Naresh Bhatt case. What is going on with our 80-year-old white ladies of Prince William County? I mean, how lonely are they that they want to be part of the media frenzy? That as soon as Sarah Sammy, our prosecutor Sarah Sammy, just gives you a little bit of crumbs in the media frenzy. You want to be part of this? Here, kitty, 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 kitty. You want to be part of it? They all jump at you. And now they're witnesses. Now they're advocates. Now they're loved ones. What the hell are we talking about? You know how terrifying this is coming out of this county? That you have random people that are allowed by the police department, by the prosecution, to jump into this case and pretend to be either witnesses, either loved ones. Now she's a loved one. All right, let's continue. We have another character, Angel Rodas, a domestic violence survivor and a fellow Mamta supporter, spoke to the Kaufel family. Suffering. The family has been taken through the mud, torn apart, twisted, and this is just like a knife in their back. Rodas said, but gracefully, they walked out of court and just accepted what the judge has ordered. The only thing they wanted is closure. Worth reflected on the Bhatt's case, recent escape from the media spotlight, showcased by a reduced audience in court. How long is this going to go on? This article is like a book. With reflected on the Bhatt's case, recent escape from the media spotlight, showcased by a reduced audience in court. I have to say, it's really interesting today that the courtroom wasn't packed and some of the fervor around the case has kind of tempered down. Worth said, which I think is a blessing for the family, and the fact that they can try to build some sense of normalcy and not have the trial be everything they think of every single day. You know, I found it really interesting that they would update you on the Naresh Bhatt story, but they're not updating you on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I mean, let's play devil advocate here. We saw the chief of police come out, update the community on the Naresh Bhatt story, right? And how they dramatize the story, how they're asking for justice. The chief of police would hold a press conference. Let's play devil advocate here. Mustafa is being charged with murder. They're telling you that Mustafa murdered his girlfriend, murdered her 5-year-old baby. And yet they pushed this trial over 2.5 years, all the way. Mustafa's been sitting in a county jail for 2.5 years. And now his trial is being pushed all the way into next year. Let's play devil advocate here. The Commonwealth attorney is telling you that Mustafa murdered his girlfriend. The Commonwealth attorney tells you that he murdered her 5-year-old baby, that this is not a car accident. You're going to push his trial into next year? He's been sitting in a county jail for 2.5 years. Where is the justice for Mustafa's girlfriend? I mean, you're claiming that he murdered his family, but you're not coming and updating this community that you're seeking justice? How does that make any sense? Instead, you're radio silent on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. You don't want to talk about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I don't get it. I thought you said he murdered his family. In this case, you talk about the delay. Sarah Sammy says this is not okay. This is delayed justice. Well, what about Mustafa's story? What about Mustafa's case? You don't care about getting justice in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? You're saying that he murdered his family, right? But you have no problem pushing this case until next year? You have no problem not updating the community, leaving the community in the dark? How does that make any sense? Oh, that's right. The file is stolen and it's leaked on the internet now. You can no longer lie about the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. That the minute you come out and say, we push this trial all the way into next year, people are going to be Googling. They're going to be like, oh, Mustafa, I remember this case. I remember you reported on it 2.5 years ago. Let me Google Mustafa Al-Jazari. And then all the body cams that are now being leaked on the internet, people are going to be looking at it. And you're terrified that people are going to verify what you've lied in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. What you said in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. You've lied about the whole entire thing. You tell people this is a murder. When people are watching the details that this is a car accident, that your police officer lied and falsified this whole entire case, individuals that manufactured probable cause. Let's dive into, now that we've covered what's coming out of the county and our local paper, I want to dive in and continue off where we picked up last time. The prosecutor Sarah Sammy, in court tell us that this is not a car accident, that she has a witness that will come forward and testify that Mustafa murdered his family. This is what prosecutor Sarah Sammy says in court.
Another individual came forward to say that this defendant had told Dorothy that he would kill her in the past.
All right. So prosecutor tell us that she has an individual that's going to come forward and testify that Mustafa premeditated this murder. She tells you this is not a car accident. Now, in court, when she says that to the judge, she does something called proffer. Proffer, she doesn't present the evidence. She just tells the judge, I have a witness. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is comfortable saying that in court because the Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, sealed off the file. You can't verify what this prosecutor is talking about. Unfortunately for her, we have the file And we've leaked it on the internet, on the podcast last time. And if you haven't watched the previous podcast, make sure you go back, watch them. We went over disturbing body cams that show witness 1 and witness 2 are telling you on a body cam, we did not witness anything. What am I talking about? I'm talking about in a body cam, when you open body cam number 1, the first individual that claimed that is a witness and Mustafa premeditated this is on a body cam. Evelyn Horton she tells you this is premeditated. She tells you that Mustafa did this on purpose. She paints Mustafa as a horrible monster. She has all these stories. And then essentially when she's specifically asked, did you see this? Anything that you're saying, did you see it? Did you witness it yourself? She tells you, no, I don't even know Mustafa. I don't even know his girlfriend. This is Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hodson. She tells you, I'm getting all my information from Kylie Clapp. That's on a body cam. You don't have to take my word for it. Go into the body cam and listen to Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hodson, tell you that. Now, we go into the body cam of Kylie Clapp. Kylie tells you, she also says this is premeditated. Mustafa did this on purpose. And she paints all these stories that Mustafa is a horrible monster. And when she specifically asked, did you witness this yourself? Did you hear this? Were you there? And everything she says, she tells you, I was not there. And she tells you, I'm getting my information from Tanisha Coleman. Tanisha Coleman, when you open her body cam, she tells you the same thing. She tells you this is premeditated, that Mustafa did this on purpose, and she paints Mustafa as a horrible monster. And then she tells you, I'm not the witness. I didn't see this myself. The children are telling me. You go to the children. Dorothy has a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old. The children tell you, we were told that Mustafa killed our mother. We were told that Mustafa abused our mother. We never saw Mustafa abuse my mom. Tanisha Coleman is the one that told us that Mustafa abused our mother, killed our mother. The police are telling us that Mustafa killed our mother. Kylie is telling us. Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, is telling us. Wait a minute. They're weaponizing the children. You open all these body cams. No one says that I'm the witness. This is the definition. This is the definition of manufactured probable cause. Hearsay. The prosecutor, Sarah Sammy, knows that. But she's comfortable because Commonwealth Amy Ashworth sealed off the body cams. Well, unfortunately for this prosecutor, we have the body cams, we have the documents, we have the dash camera, and we've leaked the whole entire file on the internet. And you, the community, can verify this yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. Listen to what the prosecutor is talking about. Listen what they're saying on the news. And verify it with the body cams. The document that's being leaked all over the internet. There's a dash camera that shows the whole entire thing is a vehicle accident. Today, I want to dive into what Tanisha Coleman is telling Robert Drum, the investigator that falsified Mustafa's statements. We have evidence that he falsified Mustafa's statements. We want to listen to the body cam. And you tell me, I'm going to play different videos, show different documents, and you tell me if Tanisha Coleman is lying. In one portion in the body cam, she tells you, I'm not the witness. She tells you, the children are telling me. Well, the children says you told her. Let's dive into the body cam of Tanisha Coleman. This is the investigator, Robert Drum, who later falsified Mustafa's statement and said, Mustafa, he puts that in his police report. You told me there's an argument inside the vehicle. Mind you, my other brother, Mohammed, had recorded the phone call conversation between Robert Drum, the investigator, and Mustafa. Mustafa never said that. We took that to the police department. We gave them the audio that this investigator falsified Mustafa's statements. This investigator flat out lied. The dash camera showed there is no argument. The sealed dash camera. They're comfortable falsifying Mustafa's statement because essentially there's no way you can verify anything. We don't have the dash camera. You don't have the dash camera. So the Commonwealth attorney and the investigator say whatever they want and go as far as falsify Mustafa's statements. And then an audio recording comes out where Mohammed, my other brother, recorded that phone call conversation. Now, their hand is caught in the cookie jar. They can't lie about Mustafa. This is the same investigator who's talking to the neighbor, Nini. Her nickname is Nini. Her actual name is Tanisha Coleman. Let's listen. All right, I'm going to fast forward until he actually gets and dial her number. This is where they actually start talking. There we go. And it's disturbing here when he starts a phone call conversation, you'll hear the investigator laugh as he's introducing himself. There's a whole entire background to why he's laughing. He's essentially weaponizing the children who he knows are in the background. You can hear the children in the background hanging on to every word this investigator says. Mustafa's toxicology comes out and it shows no alcohol, no drugs. Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The dash camera showed this is a car accident. There are brake marks from Mustafa, the 2 calipers that worked. There's a police mechanic that inspected Mustafa's car and found brake failure. This investigator is so terrified, so upset because Mustafa had a lawsuit against the police before the vehicle accident and on through those body cam that we showed on the last podcast, it shows that the police have been targeting him. Immediately, as soon as police get on site, they identify Mustafa, they know Mustafa, they hate Mustafa, and began to tell witnesses that he's on drugs when his toxicology showed no alcohol, no drugs. This investigator is so upset, but he has to get Mustafa. Mustafa had a lawsuit, an active lawsuit against the police. And now every piece of evidence showed that this is a car accident. So what he's doing here is weaponizing the children. He tells Tanisha Coleman Mustafa did this on purpose when every piece of evidence showed this is a car accident. He even says, admit in a body cam on the scene that this is a car accident. The same investigator. But these body cams are sealed. He tells Tanisha Coleman Mustafa did this on purpose. Tanisha Coleman in the background. Let's listen to the body cam. And you're going to hear him laugh. And he's laughing because he's weaponizing the children against Mustafa.
Hey, is this Kim?
Yes.
Hey, this is Investigator Drum with the Princeton County Crash Unit.
Hey, how you doing?
Did you hear that? Listen.
Yes.
Hey, this is Investigator Drum with the Princeton County Crash. Hey, this is Investigator Drum with the Princeton County Crash Unit. Hey, this is Investigator Drum with the.
And he's laughing Because on the scene, it shows everything is a vehicle accident. I mean, this is the atmosphere at the scene. This is as soon as he get on scene, he says, "We've been watching Mustafa."
You should have flipped him around.
This is Officer Casey Fines, and he says he identifies Mustafa and the family. He's been watching Mustafa and the family.
Yeah? You don't remember his name?
Mustafa is his name.
Mustafa.
I called Duplessis. I got his name, mom's name, and kid's name. That's the dead one.
Dorothy Fontaine says.
Dorothy Fontaine. Investigator Robert Drum says, Casey Fine tells him Mustafa is his name. I called Duplessis. Duplessis in patrol has been watching Mustafa. And not only Mustafa, they've been watching the family. This is what he tells. This is another officer that tells you. And he refers to Mustafa as a cat. He's like, I know that cat. I've been briefed about that cat. I didn't know it was him. We've been briefed about that cat. Listen to what he says.
Hey, I talked to Grantham on the other one, and he said that it looked like. So we're good. We're good.
Sorry.
No.
Call you next time.
Hey, can I be honest with you? I don't even know that cat. I do now. I remember now that it was brought up.
He says, I didn't even know that cat. I do now. I remember being briefed about that cat. What have you been briefed about Mustafa for? You've been briefed about Mustafa? You have another officer that's watching Mustafa and his family? This is what they say. Casey Fine began painting Mustafa immediately.
45-20, that'll be 3. I'm already here. And then Mason and Wilhelm.
And mind you, that's Mustafa laying in a coma in front of his vehicle. Mustafa gets in a vehicle accident. He loses his family in a vehicle accident. He's in a coma. An officer that show up on scene are not only watching Mustafa, not only briefed about Mustafa, are conspiring against Mustafa, painting him, knowing him as drug-related. And they began going around telling witnesses that Mustafa's on drugs. They're so comfortable. We got him. They're taking advantage of a vehicle accident. Let's watch what Casey Fine is telling Robert Drum while Mustafa lays in a coma in front of his vehicle.
I'm on my way. All right, sir.
Take pictures while you do anything else.
No, we'll figure out where the bodies are going in a minute. Witnesses, anybody say what happened?
Yeah, there's a lady right over here in the black. She saw everything.
Okay.
I believe. This car is the at fault. This is the driver of that vehicle.
Okay. Thank you. So at fault so far. Crossed over, what, oncoming traffic?
I'm not 100% sure. Knowing him though, it's probably drug related.
Okay. If that's the case, I want somebody to go get a blood draw.
I mean, look at how he's laughing. I mean, imagine you get in a vehicle accident. You lose your family in a vehicle accident. Every detail that's coming out of this case is this is a car accident. You get in a car accident. You're in a coma in front of your vehicle. You lose your family in this car accident. And you have officer that show up on scene and they're laughing as they're lying about you. And you want to tell me that we're living in a safe community? I mean, if I didn't have this body cam, it's unbelievable. You can't believe. I mean, if I was telling you this without this body cam, you would tell me, what the hell are you talking about? There's no way. We're watching a body cam where he's laughing at Mustafa while Mustafa sits behind him in a coma in front of his vehicle.
Crossed over when oncoming traffic?
I'm not 100% sure. Knowing him, though, it's probably drug related.
Okay. If that's the case, I want somebody to go get a blood draw. If he's driving?
They said he's driving, but I've had contact with him before, not driving, but he was out of it.
See if somebody can get somebody to do a blood draw on him. Because apparently the kid and mom already did.
Okay. License for that SUV.
Fine, SUV. So apparently I think the kid's dead and the mom's gonna die.
He said kid is still alive currently.
Okay. He's telling me that guy's probably drug related. So I need a blood draw on Donkey.
This is Mustafa's toxicology report, and it shows no alcohol, no drugs. But they're going around talking about Mustafa being on drugs, that they're telling witnesses that Mustafa is on drugs, he's at fault. And then the toxicology report comes out. Investigator Robert Drum is angry. How is he going to get Mustafa? This is what was going on before the vehicle accident. Just so you understand, why are they targeting Mustafa? I mean, I'm going to play a video that haunts me to today. It's a very disturbing video. Mustafa sues the police in 2018. His rights were violated. He sues the police. And we'll go into the details of the 2018 lawsuit and why Mustafa sued the police. But I'll summarize it for you. He sued the police before because his rights were violated. We'll have a podcast, a detailed podcast about what the lawsuit entailed and why he sued the police. He had a lawsuit in 2018 that dragged all the way to the vehicle accident. And because of the lawsuit, it was a $500,000 lawsuit. Mustafa's rights were violated. He sued the police. Mustafa was being harassed by the police. Mustafa had a dash camera inside his car. His lawyer told him, "You're suing the police. You're going to get harassed. It's a $500,000 lawsuit." I'm going to play a video where an officer pulls Mustafa over, supposedly for a broken taillight. There's no broken taillight. He pulls him over. It's harassment. An officer gets from the driver's side, is coaching the other officer that's coming in from the passenger side. They're going through Mustafa's vehicle. And then one officer is telling his fellow officer, "Do you know this guy?" He's like, "No, I don't know him." This is the Al-Jazari. He lived off of Onville Road. They're a bunch of assholes. He's coaching his buddy police officer against Mustafa. And then you find out that this officer is the officer involved in the lawsuit. Officer Taylor. His name is Officer Taylor. Deputy Officer Taylor. He's the one that is involved in the lawsuit. He's the one that's being sued. And is coaching his buddy police officer about Mustafa, that Mustafa is being watched. Let's watch the video. Just so that we understand the atmosphere surrounding before the vehicle accident and why are officers acting the way they're acting when they get on the scene. Well, Mustafa lay in a coma in front of his vehicle.
Not really, no.
So they're
Like a bunch of assholes.
They're the Al-Jazaris. They're being watched. They live off of Onville.
It's the Al-Jazari. They're being watched. They live off of Onville Road. He's coaching his fellow police officer against Mustafa. And you find out that this is the officer that's involved in the lawsuit. So Mustafa gets in a vehicle accident, a lawsuit that dragged from 2018 all the way to the vehicle accident in 2023. Officers are taking advantage of Mustafa's car. Immediately, one of the officers says, "We've been watching him." Officer Duplessis, Officer Patrol, they've been watching him. They know Mustafa. They've been watching the family. They began painting Mustafa as person on drugs. He's at fault. They're telling witnesses Mustafa's on drugs. And then the toxicology report comes out. No drugs, no alcohol. Mustafa is not speeding. Mustafa is not driving reckless. This is a car accident. His foot is on the brake the whole entire time. The police inspected Mustafa's car and found brake failure. This is a police body cam. This is a police body cam where the police inspect Mustafa's car and find that 2 of the calipers did not work.
Brake didn't engage.
Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time, but 2 calipers did not work. This is a police body cam, and the police mechanic is inspecting Mustafa's car and finding brake failure. This officer is so goddamn upset that now the only way he's going to get Mustafa is to weaponize the children. And you hear it. And how the phone call started with the neighbor who's in possession of the kids. He's laughing because he knows what he's doing. And you'll hear what he's doing throughout the police body cam. Let's go back to the phone call with Tanisha Coleman.
Hey, is this Kim?
Yes.
Hey, this is Investigator Drum with the Prince William County Crash Unit.
Hey, how you doing?
This is Investigator Drum, and he's laughing because he knows his job now is to weaponize the children. That's the only way you can frame Mustafa. All right. So Tanisha Coleman continues, and she tells Investigator Robert Drum that Mustafa and the family knocked on her door. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. Mustafa, after he woke up from a coma, they did a toxicology report. No alcohol, no drugs. They released Mustafa. We took Mustafa. Mustafa's first priority was the kids. The kids were left in the apartment, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old. But Mustafa is in no shape or form to take care of the kids, so he trusted his neighbor, Tanisha Coleman, and she offered to take the kids. And the police at the time, they told my other brother that you can't take the kids, because the kids are not Mustafa's. He couldn't take the kids even if he wanted to. And Mustafa was in no shape or form to take care of himself, not alone take care of the kids. So Tanisha Coleman is taking care of the kids. We're taking care of Mustafa. We take him home. Mustafa is banged up from the vehicle accident. Let's listen to what Tanisha Coleman is telling Investigator Drum.
Good, I got your number because apparently you are at home with a bunch of children that you were supposed to be watching or are watching, or they belong to Miss Fontaine?
Yeah. No, they I have our 3 little ones. They just came. They arrived right after probably about almost 1 o'clock in the morning. They knocked on my door.
Okay.
And I answered the door because I knew who they was, and they was with Miss Fontaine boyfriend.
Okay.
And his family was with them also. So I opened the door because I was concerned, because I was like, well, everybody at my house. So apparently that they had told me that the mother had got a T-bone car accident, and that he didn't know pretty much what was going on and stuff. So they wanted to bring the kids over here to me because I know the mom and I'm real close with the mom, and also the kids too. So they left the kids with me.
This was what, 3 hours ago?
Yeah, this was like about two and a half hours ago.
All right, here he asked Investigator Robert Drum asked Tanisha Coleman, "Do you know what's going on?" I mean, this is when you listen to this phone call, you can't tell me these two didn't talk before. Oh, 100% they talked. I mean, the phone call sound to a certain extent staged. She already talked to him. He already talked to her. I mean, and you'll come out with this conclusion when you listen to the whole phone call. There are 2 body cams and a phone call of Tanisha Coleman. And you tell me that these two didn't talk before. Let's continue listening. So he asked her, do you know what's going on? This is what Tanisha Coleman tells Robert Drum.
So, okay, do you know what's going on?
Yes, I do. He told me, and his, he told, the boyfriend told me, and his family told me what happened, that they was in a car.
By the way, the reason I say these two talked is because the goal is not the conversation here. The goal is to weaponize the children that's sitting in the background listening to these two talk. That's the goal here. These two already talked. These two already agreed on what to say. And they're weaponizing the children. I mean, this conversation is taking place in front of the children. You have the investigator that's going to tell her Mustafa did this on purpose. She's going to tell him a whole bunch of things. And then later, let's continue listening.
So, okay, do you know what's going on?
Yes, I do. He told me, and his, he told, the boyfriend told me, and his family told me what happened, that they was in a car accident on 234, and there was a T-bone. They telling me that it was a T-bone accident because the kids were left alone in the house by themselves. So they was waiting for their mom to come back home. But this had happened. They said that the mom passed away, and the sister's in the hospital. So when they came and brought it to my attention, they dropped the kids off to me. Told me, said, "Can you?"
All right, here she tells him. Here she tells investigator Robert Drum that the brother asked her to check on 5-year-old Empress because Empress, at that point in time, Empress was still alive. So she doesn't tell Robert Drum that when Mustafa came out of the hospital, when he woke up out of a coma, and he came out of the hospital, when he was released by the police, by the hospital, his number one priority was the children, to make sure the children are good. She doesn't tell him that when Mustafa got to the apartment, he's begging her to make sure, he's telling her the hospital is not telling me if 5-year-old Empress is okay. Can you please call the hospital and check on Empress? There's a whole entire video that my other brother Muhammad recorded of that night. So when she sits there and she leaves out the part that Mustafa was begging her to make sure that 5-year-old Empress is okay, that they're not telling him, Mustafa took on the father figure, being a father figure for those children. Mustafa knows Dorothy for 3 months. This is how long Mustafa is in a relationship with Dorothy. That's how long he knows her. She has children. And he took on being a father figure to these children. There's a Google Nest video inside the apartment that shows it's a beautiful relationship. Those children, their father is not around, and Mustafa took on that role in their life. And you see the Google Nest videos, and it shows it's a beautiful relationship. 5-year-old Empress loved Mustafa. 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 14-year-old, the boys, they loved Mustafa. The girlfriend loved Mustafa. It's a beautiful relationship. So she leaves out the part that, hey, Mustafa was begging you to make sure that 5-year-old Empress is okay. She leaves that part. Unfortunately for her, there's a video that shows the whole entire night that it was recorded by my other brother, Muhammad. Let's listen.
The brother told me, said, "Can you call Fairfax Hospital and check on the sister?" And I was like, she's okay. And they was like, no, because she was in an accident too. So when I called the hospital, told them who I was, a close friend, Miss Dorothy, Miss Fontaine, and the doctor told me, well, I'm going to go ahead and, because we don't have no information on this little girl, can you give me information? I told him, yes, I can. I know these people. These are my neighbors. And I gave them her name and her age and her birthday, and they, said, okay, well, we got to talk to somebody. And the doctor had disclosed to me what was going on with the daughter, the 5-year-old.
Yeah.
But the mother, they told me, had passed on the scene of the accident.
Okay.
So that's all I am aware of.
All right, here she goes on and tells Robert Drum that she called the hospital, and the hospital is telling her, is giving her information. Let's listen to what she tells Robert Drum about the hospital.
I was just talking to the social worker at the hospital just now, and I told her that I think somebody called me from the hospital, but it was you. And she told me go ahead and take the call.
I find this really interesting. They want to pretend that this is the first time that Robert Drum and Tanisha Coleman, the neighbor, talk, but yet she's calling the hospital. The hospital's telling her about the investigator. You want to tell me that this is the first time? I mean, this is a good question. Throughout this phone call, you can hear the children are in the background. You can hear that this phone call is on speaker and the children are hanging on to every word this investigator says. Let's play devil advocate here. Even if Mustafa did this on purpose, how is it okay for a police officer to have this conversation in front of the children? To say that Mustafa killed your mother on purpose? Killed your 5-year-old baby on purpose? He hears the children hanging out to every word he says. And the children are gasping in the background. How is this not traumatizing the children? How is that okay? And then you find out that every detail out of this case is that this is a vehicle accident. That what they're doing here is they're weaponizing those children against Mustafa. At all cost, with Robert Drum out of Prince William County, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he has to traumatize those children. At all cost, he has to get Mustafa. Robert Drum has to make sure that Mustafa is arrested. Mustafa's case, it doesn't matter if he has to falsify his statements. It doesn't matter if he has to weaponize and traumatize a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old. It doesn't matter. According to Robert Drum, this is collateral damage. As long as he gets Mustafa, doesn't matter. Robert Drum knows this is a vehicle accident. He's on the scene telling Chad Mason, another investigator, that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. He has a dash camera that shows this is a vehicle accident. He has Mustafa's toxicology. No drugs, no alcohol. He knows this is a vehicle accident. But at all cost, even if it's traumatizing the children, he's going to sit there. As long as he can get Mustafa. Here, Robert Drum. Let's listen to, I think we already listened to this, but let's listen to it again. What she says and talks about the hospital.
I was just talking to the social worker at the hospital just now, and I told her that I think somebody called me from the hospital, but it was you. And she told me go ahead and take the call.
Okay. And this part, she goes on and he tells her that Mustafa's phone is completely destroyed. Dorothy's phone is completely destroyed. What is so goddamn terrifying from Dorothy's phone? I mean, we have a picture of Dorothy's phone. We have a picture of Mustafa's cell phone. And those phones are not destroyed. But you tell the neighbor that the phone is destroyed. That's what you say. It's been 2.5 years. And the prosecution is terrified from Mustafa's cell phone, from Dorothy's cell phone. They want to say that they're arguing, that this is a horrible, bad relationship. Even though we have a Google Nest video that shows it's a beautiful relationship. Even though the dash camera show it's a beautiful relationship. They're terrified that the Google Nest, that the cell phone, I mean, if Mustafa and his girlfriend are arguing, you immediately see, I mean, if I'm arguing with my girlfriend, all you have to do is open my text. You're going to hear an argument. You're going to read an argument. They're terrified from Mustafa's cell phone because there is no argument. That it is a beautiful relationship. It's been 2.5 years. They're avoiding the cell phone from Mustafa and the cell phone from Dorothy as if it doesn't even exist. Listen to what he tells the neighbor about Dorothy's cell phone.
Okay. Do we know if there is family anywhere in the area?
Well, these kids, I just need to get to her phone. Everything is in her phone.
Her phone's destroyed.
Her phone is destroyed. Okay. Well, all the phones. Her son right here. He said she has 2 phones.
Well, there were a lot of phones.
Yeah.
Her son is right here. So this investigator knows the children are in the background. Let's keep listening.
And I can tell you, I can almost guarantee you without even turning any of them on, all the screens are cracked and broken.
That's a lie. Mustafa and Dorothy's cell phone are in perfect condition, and we have the pictures in the discovery from Mustafa's cell phone. But to sit there and lie about Mustafa's cell, you're terrified. You want to create this narrative about Mustafa, that it's a bad relationship, that they were arguing, that he did this because it's a bad relationship, and then all of a sudden, the dash camera is leaked on the internet. The Google Nest video from the apartment is all over the internet, and it shows that you've lied about Mustafa. You think, I mean, it's been 2.5 years, but they're avoiding the cell phone from Dorothy and Mustafa, and now all this evidence is coming out. They're in trouble. Robert Drum, you tried to lie about Mustafa. How do you feel? How is that working out for you now? You want to tell the neighbor that the cell phone is destroyed? That's interesting. You're terrified from Mustafa and Dorothy's cell phone.
Okay.
He said it was a really violent crash.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Here he goes on and he tells her, he's asking her about Dorothy's remaining family, the family.
So I guess I'd like to help track down some form of next of kin because I need to get somebody up to the hospital for the 6-year-old.
You know, I found it interesting because there's another body cam where the ex-husband, Divine Jones, is begging the police to be next to his 5-year-old baby. And the police are pushing him away, refuse to have that father be next to 5-year-old Empress. Mustafa, they refuse to have Mustafa be next to 5-year-old Empress. But here, he's telling her we have to locate someone that can be next to Empress. Mustafa is being pushed away. The ex-husband, Divine Jones, is being pushed away. The only person that can be there is the ex-boyfriend who's helping the police lie about Mustafa, who took pictures of 5-year-old Empress in her condition and is showing, this is the ex-boyfriend. This is the only person that's allowed to be there. So Mustafa is not allowed to be there. He's not being updated on Empress. He's not allowed to be there. The ex-husband, Devon Jones, this is Devon Jones, they refused to let him near 5-year-old Empress, but they let this guy in. This guy, who on a recorded line admit to waking up in bed with a 16-year-old. This is Dorothy's 16-year-old, who doesn't live with Dorothy, who's separated by CPS, lives with her father at the hotel. Her father, she has another father, lives with her dad at the hotel. So this guy is allowed to be there. That's the ex-boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend is taking pictures of 5-year-old Empress and is texting it to, and is sending it to, and showing it to the children, a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 14-year-old, and is essentially weaponizing the children against Mustafa with Nini. By the way, this guy, he's in the background. He's in the apartment with pictures that he took in the hospital and is weaponizing the children against Mustafa. This guy is allowed to be there by the police. This guy is allowed to be there by Robert Drum because he's helping him, one, lie about Mustafa. I mean, we have his body cam, and we're going to hold multiple podcasts about this guy and the body cams that we have where he lies about Mustafa, tell you this is premeditated, and then tell you, I wasn't there, I didn't see any of it. But they seal off that body cam. They use him as a witness. They use him to weaponize the children, be in the background with Tanisha Coleman while this conversation is taking place. And now Robert Drum wants to pretend that he's so concerned and he wants to locate the family. You know, this case is sealed. The more you look into it, you realize what this police department is doing here. And what they're doing is they're falsifying the whole entire case, and they're weaponizing the children against Mustafa because every detail showed this is a car accident. Here, so let's go back and listen to how he wants to locate family for 5-year-old Empress when everybody is being pushed away except the individual that lie about Mustafa.
So, I guess I'd like to help track down some form of next of kin, because I need to get somebody up to the hospital for the 6-year-old.
Here, Tanisha Coleman tells Robert Drum, I mean, okay, we heard the prosecutor in court says, I have a witness that's going to come forward and say that this is premeditated. Mustafa premeditated this. Well, Tanisha Coleman, they're telling us, witness one, Amy Hassan, Evelyn Horton is telling us that Tanisha Coleman is the witness. Kylie is telling us that Tanisha Coleman is a witness. Here, she tells us, I'm not the witness. She tells you, I'm getting my information from the children. Well, the children will tell you that they're getting their information from everybody else, including the police. That they didn't see anything. They're being told that Mustafa killed their mother. Listen to what Tanisha Coleman is telling Robert Drum. And keep in mind, before we play this, I'm going to play what the prosecutor is talking about. So that way we have perspective when we're going through the details of this case. This is what Prosecutor Sarah Sammy says in court.
Another individual came forward to say that this defendant had told Dorothy that he would kill her in the past.
Okay, so when I opened this body cam, I'm expected to hear that Tanisha Coleman is the witness. Tanisha Coleman heard and saw that this is premeditated, that Mustafa premeditated. Why is Tanisha Coleman telling me that, no, I'm not the witness? Let's listen to what Tanisha Coleman is talking about.
I guess I'd like to help track. Where do do they know where any of the family members live?
Yeah, I know where the family members live. No, they don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. They don't even have a cell phone. All they know is their mom and him was arguing all morning. They told me they was arguing all morning, and the last couple of days they have been in altercation. So,
Wait a minute. Now you're telling me that the kids are telling you that Mustafa and his girlfriend has been arguing all morning? Wait a minute. I'm expected to hear that you heard that Mustafa premeditated this. Now you're telling me the children are telling you. Tanisha Coleman doesn't realize there's a Google Nest video inside the apartment that shows it's a beautiful relationship and there is no argument. She's flat out lying about Mustafa. She's weaponizing the children against Mustafa. Now she's telling the investigator the children are telling you. Well, when you ask the children, those children have separate forensic interviews. We're in possession of those forensic interviews. We've leaked them on the internet. Each of those children, the 9-year-old, the 10-year-old, the 14-year-old, tell you that no, mom and boyfriend were not arguing. We were told that Mustafa abused our mother. We were told that Mustafa killed our mother. We were told that Mustafa killed our 5-year-old baby sister. Who told you? Tanisha Coleman, Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hudson, Kylie Clapp, Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, the police, detective told me. Wait a minute. That's what the children are saying. The children are saying that they were told. And now you want to tell us that the children are telling you? Let's listen to that one more time.
Where do they know where any of the family members live?
yeah, I know where the family members live. No, they don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. They don't even have a cell phone. All they know is their mom and him was arguing all morning. They told me they was arguing all morning, and the last couple of days they have been in altercation. So,
all right. So she says the children are telling her, and then she goes on and gives him more details.
They've been arguing all morning, and he told her that he was going to take her to go put flowers on her mom's grave, and that's what they told the kids that they were going. They told y'all that, okay? And he told the other kids that they wanted to go, and he told them, no, y'all not going. Y'all gonna stay right here. I'm just taking your mom and Empress. And sir, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you need to investigate this because it don't sound right.
It don't sound right. Don't sound right. You need to investigate this. I got to be honest with you. You need to investigate this. It don't sound right. The kids are telling me that it's Mustafa's idea. It was Mustafa's idea. He's the one that told Dorothy to go that day. He's the one that forced her into the vehicle. He's the one that forced 5-year-old Empress into the vehicle. He's the one that told the boys to stay home. Don't sound right. You need to investigate this, she tells him. The boys are telling me this. Wait a minute. Home video shows otherwise. The dash camera shows otherwise. The dash camera showed this is a car accident. The home videos show that it was Dorothy. Dorothy's the one that's asking Empress to go with her on that day. Dorothy is the one that's asking the boys to go with her, and the boys don't want to go. Dorothy is the one that asked Mustafa, woke Mustafa up, and is telling him to take her to her mama's cemetery. Oh, that's right. It's her mama's cemetery. It was Dorothy's idea that she wanted to go lay flowers on her mom's grave. It's her mom's anniversary. But Tanisha Coleman is telling us it's Mustafa's idea. That's interesting. And this is what the investigator tells her.
Well, we are investigating it, and it's taken us a little bit of like you said,
Yeah.
it doesn't. None of this stuff works like TV, so it's going to take us a while to dig through it.
Wait a minute. How is this sounding like a normal conversation? Immediately, he's jumping on the conclusion that this is a murder. She tells him that Mustafa planned this out. And she tells him that it was Mustafa's idea. Immediately, he jumps on the idea that, yep, we are investigating this. We're on it. We've been on it. Wait a minute. It sure sounds like you've talked before. I mean, your reaction to what she says doesn't add up. So immediately, you've already assumed that Mustafa killed his family? Wait a minute. On scene. All right, we'll come back to... This is part 12. Part 12. Let's go to... This is Investigator Drum on the scene talking about that Mustafa cleared all the vehicles, made it to the 4th lane, and the SUV is the one that turned into him. But here he's telling her, we are investigating this. And he already condemned Mustafa guilty.
What you thinking, police?
Trying to find where they spun.
Seems like, yeah. That's a smart play. It's a dead end.
Because is on the right, which caused them to flip that way. So.
And then it finally broke off with Sue.
So that's her.
They're coming in sideways.
Yep.
Gets popped, rotates.
And she just rolls backwards.
So here's the question: which way did they? Because she comes straight, she hits.
She would have turned into it.
Is that she either had either coming to turn this way, or he gets hit. He turns and gets hit. Boom! Rotates all the way around. Okay. Which that crossover is indicative, and goes there.
She would have turned into him. He's talking about the SUV.
She would have turned into it.
He's talking about the SUV. The only way this accident would happen, Mustafa cleared all the vehicle, makes it to the 4th lane, and the SUV turns into Mustafa. Now you're here talking about, let's go back to the phone call. Part 12. All right.
They've been arguing all morning, and he told her that he was going to take her to go put flowers on her mom's grave, and that's what they told the kids that they was going. They told y'all that, okay? And he told the other kids that they wanted to go, and he told them, no, y'all not going. Y'all gonna stay right here. I'm just taking your mom and Empress. And sir, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you need to investigate this because it don't sound right.
Well, we are investigating it, and it's taken us a little bit of, like you said, it doesn't. None of this stuff works like TV, so it's going to take us a while to dig through it.
So wait a minute. Mustafa's toxicology, no alcohol, no drugs. Every detail showed that this is a car accident. Even this investigator is on the scene telling you that he did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident, made it all the way to the 4th lane. The SUV turned into him. He's not speeding. He's not reckless. And he's telling her, we are. He's condemning this as a murder. Tanisha Coleman tells investigator Robert Drum that the children are telling her this, right? That's what she says. She says she's not the witness. She says the children are telling her that Mustafa forced their mother, forced their baby sister, that this was his idea. Why do I have a forensic interview of the child saying otherwise? This is a forensic interview from Dorothy's 9-year-old child, where he says this in a forensic interview.
Let's see.
Pharaoh says that this is my mom. It was my mom's anniversary. She was going to take her car. On the last minute, she decided to have Mustafa take her. So wait a minute. If they're arguing, why is Dorothy asking Mustafa to take her to the cemetery? To her mom's anniversary? That's one. Wait a minute. Pharaoh is talking about mom asked Mustafa. Mom woke him up. Mustafa had other plans. Mom woke him up. And Mustafa is doing her a favor by taking her to the cemetery. It was mom's idea. Mom asked Empress. Mom asked us and we didn't want to go. This is what the child is telling us. Tanisha Coleman just got done telling us that the children are telling her that was Mustafa's idea. That Mustafa forced the boys to stay home. Let's listen to what the children are talking about. This is Dorothy's 9-year-old child, Pharaoh, in a forensic interview.
I want to find out a little bit more about who you live with, okay? So tell me about who you live with. Who all lives with you?
Well, I live with my brother, my other brother, and I lived with my mom and my little sister and my mom's boyfriend.
So you said your brother, your other brother, your mom, your little sister, is that what you said? Little sister, and your mom's boyfriend?
Yeah, his name's Moses.
Boyfriend, and his name's Moses. Moses. Okay. Let's see. So we have you. What's your brother's name?
Imagine.
Imagine. Okay. And your other brother's name?
Jaden.
Jaden. And your mom's name?
People call her a whole bunch of names, but the one I like the most is her nickname that her mom and her brothers used to call her Joey.
Joey?
Yeah, that's her nickname.
Okay, Joey. Okay, and your little sister?
Empress.
Empress. Okay, and you said your mom's boyfriend is named Moses?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay, and these are the people that you live with, is that right?
Yeah, well, I don't live with my mom and my sister anymore.
Okay, so what happened there?
Well, they died in a car crash.
They died in a car crash?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When was the last time that you saw your mom and your little sister?
2 days ago.
You know the child is being told about this accident when he's referring to a car accident where he says they got into, and he uses the term crash. Throughout this whole entire every body cam that you open, the children are referring to the accident as a crash. Every individual that's being brought into this case is being used, says and referred to this case, this act as a crash. In court, during a bond motion, the main investigator, Chad Mason, would get into a back and forth with Mustafa's attorney at the time, referring to this as a crash. The lawyer would say vehicle accident, and the investigator, Chad Mason, would refer this to as a crash. Children are referring to this as a crash? A 9-year-old is referring to a car accident in terminology, crash? What 9-year-old says crash? And now you have the 10-year-old. Now you have the 14-year-old. They're all referring to it as a crash. And you want to tell me that these children have not been weaponized, coached before, put in a forensic interview? I'll show you the other body cam where one of the children flat out says, investigator told me that Mustafa killed my mom, ran away, left my 5-year-old baby sister to bleed to death. Mustafa was in a coma. Why is this child being lied to? And he says that in a forensic interview. Let's continue, and we'll go back into that forensic interview. Let's continue.
She was planning on with my mom or sister anymore.
Okay. So what happened there?
Well, they died in a car crash.
They died in a car crash?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When was the last time that you saw your mom and your little sister?
2 days ago. She was planning on going to her grandma's and then driving around doing other stuff. She didn't know what yet. I decided to stay home because I didn't want to go.
Okay.
Listen to what the forensic interview is going to ask 9-year-old Pharaoh. She's going to ask him, so he's telling her about the background. That mom is going to the anniversary to lay flowers. She's going to ask him a very specific question. Whose idea was it to go? Pharaoh's going to tell her it was mom's idea. She's laying flowers on her mom. That's not what Tanisha Coleman is telling us. Tanisha Coleman is telling us, the neighbor is telling us that the children are saying it's Mustafa's idea. This child says otherwise.
2 days ago, let's talk about what happened 2 days ago, okay? So think back about 2 days ago, the last time you saw them, okay? Tell me everything you remember about that day. Everything from the very beginning until the last thing that you remember about that day. What happened?
So I woke up and I was planning on doing with Moses to death one of the new games that he said he would done me that day, but mom wanted, but he was too tired to, and also mom wanted him to tell him with, but he didn't want to tell him, so they got into a fight for a little while. Then Moses went, and David and my $12, we have this whole big plan to have enough money to debt the dam, and then a couple minutes later, a couple hours later, a top showed up around our house. So we tried to tell mom and them, but they didn't answer. And then the tops eventually went away, and they still didn't answer. But then Moses came back with blood on him in a hospital outfit, and told us to get our shoes on to go to our neighbor's house, which is also our mom's best friend's house.
Okay, so the child goes on and gives her details. He starts by saying that Mustafa was going to go buy me a game that day. That was the plan. Mustafa was sleeping. Mom woke him up and told Mustafa, I want you to take me to my mom anniversary. Mustafa had other plans, but mom is telling him, I want you to take me. Wait a minute. Tanisha Coleman tells us they were arguing. So if they're arguing, why is his girlfriend asking him to take her to her mom's anniversary? That's one. Two, the child is telling us that it was mom's idea. She's the one waking him up. Mustafa had other plans. He was going to go buy me a game. But mom is waking him up to take her to the cemetery, to her mom's anniversary. And then the child goes on and says, later they left And when Mustafa, like he's talking about when Mustafa was released from the hospital. Well, Mustafa, like after the accident, well, Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital, woke up from a coma, was released from the hospital. They did his toxicology report. Mustafa's number one priority, is to check on the kids. And that's when Mustafa and the family was at the apartment. So the kid goes on and talks about that. There's a whole entire video that my other brother, Muhammad, recorded of that night. So we'll go into the details from that night. But we come back here and focus on what Pharaoh is talking about. Pharaoh is talking about that mom is the one that woke Mustafa up. Mom is the one that's telling him, and she's going to ask him specifically, the forensic interviewer is going to ask Pharaoh specifically, whose idea was it? Tanisha Coleman tells us the children are telling her that is Mustafa's idea. Really quick, let's go back to Tanisha Coleman, so that way we have perspective in what is happening here.
They've been arguing all morning, and he told her that he was going to take her to go put flowers on her mom's grave, and that's what they told the kids that they was going. They told y'all that, okay? And he told the other kids that they wanted to go, and he told them, no, y'all not going. Y'all gonna stay right here. I'm just taking your mom and Empress. And sir, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think you need to investigate this because it don't sound right.
Well, we are investigating it, and it's taken us a little bit of, like you said, it doesn't. None of this stuff works like TV, so it's going to take us a while to dig through it.
And then here she tells him the child wants to talk to the lead investigator. Listen.
Because the kids also told me to ask you, the lead investigator that's on this, can they talk to the lead investigator, because they want to disclose some stuff that they've been seeing that been going around in the house.
Like what?
Abuse.
Like physical abuse on what?
Physical abuse on your mom. Yeah, it's like physical abuse on them and physical abuse on their mom.
Okay, so let's go back to what the child is telling us. So here, we heard what Tanisha Coleman is talking about, that the children are telling her. Let's hear from the children. Let's hear what Pharaoh is talking about.
Okay, so you gave me a lot of information here, okay? So I want to ask you some questions about that day, okay? So you said you woke up. Do you remember what time you woke up?
No, I don't really look at the time I went up.
Was it in the morning? Was it in the afternoon or something?
I just know that it was pretty bright.
It was pretty bright? Okay. Yeah. So when you woke up, it was bright outside. And you said that you were going to go with Moses to get a game. A video game.
For my Switch.
For your Switch. And you said that you gave him $12 for the video game. Is that right?
That's how much I had.
Because that's how much you had.
The game was $70, but I had 2 other games I was gonna trade in with the $12, and then he was gonna pay the extra $20 so we could get the game.
Okay. So when you woke up, you said that you were going to go to go with Moses to get the game.
Yeah, but since he decided to go with Mom and said that we would have the game tomorrow, I just handed him the $12 and told him why he's out there to get the game.
Okay. So tell me what he was going to do with your mom instead. You said that instead of going to get the game, he was going to do something with your mom.
They were going to go visit my mom's grave, so that because it was her birthday, it was my mom's birthday. So and then they were gonna go somewhere else they didn't know where and just do something. And me and Imagine and Jam decided to stay home while her and Empress went with him to go.
What did Javen just say? What did Pharaoh just say? He said, we decided to stay home. The boys. Pharaoh is telling the forensic interviewer that the boys decided to stay home. That's not what Tanisha Coleman says. She says Mustafa forced the boys to stay home. Kylie Clapp says Mustafa forced the boys to stay home. Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hodgson, says Mustafa forced the boys to stay home. He forced Dorothy and 5-year-old Empress to get in the car. That's not what Pharaoh is talking about. Let's listen to that one more time.
And me and Imagine and Jam decided to stay home while her and Empress went.
Me and Imagine decided to stay home. Now, there's a Google Nest video that shows that Dorothy is asking the boys if they wanted to go with her, and the boys say, no, we want to stay home. So there's a Google Nest video inside the apartment, and we'll go into that video. Let's continue.
Somewhere else they didn't know where and just do something. And me and Imagine and Jam decided to stay home while her and Empress went with him to Grandma's grave.
And how did you know that it was your? How did you know that they were going to your grandma's grave?
Because they said.
Who said?
My mom.
Your mom said? And whose idea was it to go to your grandma's grave?
My mom's.
Your mom's
Because
idea?
it was her birthday.
Because it was your grandma's birthday, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Whose idea was to go to her mom's anniversary? Pharaoh, the 9-year-old child, tells us, my mom. So what is Tanisha Coleman talking about? They're weaponizing the children. They seal off these interviews. And in these interviews, the children tell you what is actually happening. You know, I noticed something that's really interesting. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is terrified from the forensic interview of Pharaoh, and she doesn't talk about it in court. Never does she bring up Pharaoh, because Pharaoh blows the lid on the whole entire thing. Tanisha Coleman wants to give you a scenario. Kylie, Amy Hodgson, Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Evelyn Horton, wants to give you a scenario that this is premeditated. And they want to tell you the children now is the one that are going to say it. Well, Pharaoh tells you it was Mom's idea.
you said that you and Imagine and Javon decided you would stay, is that right?
Yeah.
And who decided that?
Well, we decided my mom was okay with it.
Okay, okay. And what was the very next thing that happened?
Well, a couple hours later, the top showed up around our house. We tried to tell our mom, and she didn't answer. So we texted her and told her what. But then eventually they went away, and we tried to tell her one more time, but she didn't answer. So, but then a couple hours later, or a couple minutes later,
Here, Pharaoh is talking about. So this is at 8:14. Let's stop here so we can come back to it. Here, Pharaoh's talking about when the vehicle accident happened, the police showed up at the apartment. Now, the apartment has a Google Nest video. We have all the videos from the apartment. When the police knocked on the door, they want to tell you that the children don't love Mustafa. Well, the Google Nest video show otherwise. Because when the police knocked on the door, the first thing those children do, they don't even ask for their mother. They ask for Mustafa. Let's watch the Google Nest video from the apartment. I mean, and when you watch this video, in their moment of fear, the children in their most vulnerable time, when they're scared, who do they run to? The first thing they ask for, the first person they run to is Mustafa. They don't even ask for their mother. They say, Moses, the police are here. This Google Nest is connected with Dorothy's cell phone and Mustafa's cell phone. It's a Google Nest video inside the apartment. We have all the Google Nest videos that shows it's a beautiful relationship and the children loved Mustafa. And when you watch these videos, you watch and ask yourself, do these children trust Mustafa? Do these children love Mustafa? Does it show that they love him? Let's watch when the police knock on the door. At this point, they don't know that there's a vehicle accident. All they know is there's a knock on the door and the police are there. Let's listen.
Moses, the cops are here. The cops are here. The cops are here. Moses, the cops are here.
The first thing these children do is ask for Mustafa. That's the person they run to when they're scared. That's the person they run into for safety. Before even asking for their mother. In this video, and then you'll see, then they ask for their mother. They're like, Mom, the police are here. Listen.
The cops are here. Mom, the cops are here. Alice. It's outside.
So first they ask for Mustafa, and then they ask for their mother. You want to tell me, this police department wants to tell me that these children did not love Mustafa, did not trust Mustafa? You know, if I didn't have these Google Nest videos, and you'll see, I have days on days of Google Nest video that shows the children love Mustafa. They can't lie about the relationship that Mustafa has with the children, has with his girlfriend. There is a Google Nest video inside the apartment. Let's go back to what Pharaoh was talking about. Okay, and we stopped at 8:14. Okay.
Moses with his family showed up because it was her birthday. It was my mom's birthday. So and then they were gonna go somewhere else. They didn't know where, and just do something. And me and Imagine and Jam decided to stay home while her and Empress went with him to Grandma's grave.
And how did you know that it was your? How did you know that they were going to your grandma's grave?
Because they said.
Who said?
My mom.
Your mom said? And whose idea was it to go to your grandma's grave?
My mom's.
Your mom's.
Because it was her birthday.
Because it was your grandma's birthday, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you said that you and Imagine and Javon decided you would stay, is that right?
Yeah.
And who decided that?
Well, we decided my mom was okay with it.
Okay. And what was the very next thing that happened?
Well, a couple hours later, the cops showed up around our house. We tried to tell our mom, and she didn't answer. So we kept trying to tell her but then eventually they went away, and we tried to tell her one more time, but she didn't answer. So, but then a couple hours later, or a couple minutes later, Moses with his family showed up and said to put our shoes on and to go to our mom's friend's house. And my mom's friend is named Nene.
Is named Nene?
Yeah.
Nene is Tanisha Coleman, the person that's having a phone call conversation on a body cam with the investigator. We'll come back. That's the one that she says, the children are telling me. Now the children are telling us otherwise. The children are telling us that Nene is lying about Mustafa.
Okay. So earlier, and I need you to correct me if I get something wrong, okay? You said something about Moses and your mom got into a fight. Is that correct?
Yeah, because he didn't want to go, and so he got really.
Wait. Tanisha Coleman is telling us they were fighting. Oh, wait a minute. What did Pharaoh talking about? There's fighting? What were they fighting about? Let's listen to what Pharaoh is telling us. There's a fight, right? Okay, let's listen to what the fight was about.
Nene?
Yeah.
Okay. So earlier, and I need you to correct me if I get something wrong, okay? You said something about Moses and your mom got into a fight. Is that correct?
Yeah, because he didn't want to go, and so he got really mad at her.
Okay. Tell me more about him getting really mad at her.
Well, they broke into a really bad fight because he got really mad that she was trying to force him to go. He didn't want to. So they were fighting for a couple hours before he just decided to go.
What did you hear?
Well, I didn't really hear a lot because I was told to go in my room and go in my room with my brothers and sister, and while they were fighting, I was just watching Mario Odyssey movie on my PS5. But then my little sister got upset because she wanted to watch the TV. She told my mom, and my mom said to let her. So then I unplugged the PS5 since the Roku or the Fire Stick was still plugged in, but the Fire Stick wasn't working. So I tried to plug it into the projector, which was in my mom's room, but there was no volume. So a couple minutes later, I decided to just go put it back in the other room. And since my sister was on the phone, I decided to just hook up my PS5 to the TV. And then a couple minutes or hours later, they stopped fighting and they were going.
How did you know that they were fighting if you didn't hear what they were saying?
Because I heard them yelling still, because the movie wasn't too loud, but also because they were fighting in the living room.
And what did you hear them say?
Well, I don't remember fully because I was mostly in my room and not listening because I was just watching my movie.
Okay, and thank you for telling me that you don't remember. That's what I need you to.
Tanisha Coleman, Kylie Clapp, Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hodson, tell us that Mustafa and Dorothy were arguing over a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend. And then in the same breath, they tell us that Mustafa doesn't even know who this ex-boyfriend is. So wait a minute, you're telling me that Mustafa is arguing with his girlfriend over an ex-boyfriend he doesn't even know? That's what you're telling us, that they've been arguing all morning, and then we opened the forensic interview, and the child is telling us they're arguing over he didn't want to go, that she's waking him up. He had plans. He was going to buy me a game. She's waking him up. Mom is forcing him to go. Then he finally agreed. They broke into a fight. They were arguing over he didn't want to go. And then he finally agreed to take her. That's the argument? That's not what Tanisha Coleman is telling us. That's not what Kylie Clapp is telling us. That's not what Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hodson, is telling us. That's not what the prosecutor is telling us. The prosecutor is telling us it's over a boyfriend. No wonder the prosecutor is hiding this forensic interview. Because Pharaoh, the child, is telling us what is going on inside that apartment. They're not arguing over an ex-boyfriend. If they were arguing, Dorothy, Mustafa's girlfriend, would not be asking Mustafa to take her to the cemetery, to her mama's anniversary. Pharaoh is telling us that mom is asking Mustafa, forcing Mustafa, waking him up. He had other plans. That was the argument. The child, Pharaoh, is telling us in a forensic interview what is going on inside the apartment. That's why the video is sealed. That's why they're terrified. The Google Nest video inside the apartment show there is no argument. It's a beautiful relationship. The children, the girlfriend love Mustafa. And we'll go into the Google Nest from the apartment. Let's continue. The forensic interview would ask Pharaoh, what does it look like when mom and boyfriend are arguing? Tanisha Coleman, Kylie, and Evelyn Horton is telling us that Mustafa is this violent person, that he abuses Dorothy, that he physically abuses Dorothy. Let's hear what Pharaoh is talking about. He's being asked, what does it look like when mom and boyfriend is arguing?
Tell me, okay? And what does it look like when they fight?
Well, they mostly just yell at each other.
Okay. And what does it look like?
What does it look like when mom and boyfriend are arguing? Listen.
When they fight.
Well, they mostly just yell at each other.
They mostly just yell at each other. That's not what everybody else is telling us. Everybody else is telling us that the children is telling them there is physical abuse. But then when you open the forensic interview, the children are talking about there is no physical abuse. Let's listen to that one more time.
Okay. And what does it look like when they fight?
Well, they mostly just yell at each other.
Okay. And then what was the next thing that happened?
Well, then they left to go.
Okay. Did they say something to you when they left?
I don't fully remember. Maybe they said that they were leaving. Maybe they said bye. I don't remember fully.
Okay, and that's okay if you don't remember. And then you said that you tried to call your mom because the cops came.
Mm-hmm.
Was it still light outside when the cops came? Or?
No, it was pretty dark.
It was pretty dark. When did the cops come?
It wasn't fully night. Near dark time, but it wasn't fully nighttime. It was like there was like stars in the sky, but it was like blue black.
Oh, okay, okay. So when your mom and Moses left, where were you when they left the house?
Well, when they were leaving, I gave them the $12 before, and once they stepped out of the house while I was in the living room too, I decided to just go back and watch my movie.
Okay, okay. And where was everybody else when they left?
Oh, they were also in the room, or maybe some of them were in the living room and then went back to the room. I just remember once they left, everybody was in the room except for Empress, who was going too.
Okay. So where was, you said everybody else, so where was Imagine when?
He was in the room too.
Okay. And Javon?
Jim was just laying on my couch bed.
Okay. And you said Empress went with them?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
All right, so this is what Pharaoh tells us, and he contradicts what Tanisha Coleman is talking about. Tanisha Coleman is telling us a completely different story. She's telling us that's Mustafa's idea, that Mustafa forced Empress, forced Dorothy, his girlfriend, forced the boys to stay home. They were arguing over an ex-boyfriend. Completely lied about Mustafa. Pharaoh tells us otherwise in a forensic interview. Now, we have the Google Nest video from the apartment. The narrative is, well, before we go into the Google Nest video, Tanisha Coleman, remember, when we started this podcast, Tanisha Coleman is being said that she's the witness. Wait a minute. Now she's talking about she's not the witness? I mean, the prosecutor is telling us that she has a witness that's going to come forward and testify that this is premeditated murder. This is what Sarah Sammy is telling us.
Another individual came forward to say that this defendant had told Dorothy that he would kill her in the past.
An individual is going to come forward and testify that Mustafa told Dorothy that he's going to kill her in the past. That this is premeditated. That this is not a car accident. Well, we're going through your witnesses, ma'am. You called them witnesses. You brought them into this case. And you're telling me that you have witnesses that are going to come forward. Why is your witnesses playing a game of ping pong? Evelyn Horton, a.k.a. Amy Hodson, tells you that this is premeditated, that Mustafa did this on purpose, and then tell you, I didn't see anything. I'm getting my information from Kylie. Evelyn Horton, you've disqualified yourself as a witness. You are not a witness. You're saying you got your information, all your information, from Kylie. Kylie, when you open her forensic interview, tells you, I'm getting my information from Tanisha Coleman. Kylie, I know you really want to be a witness. You're trying hard. You're making up all these stories about Mustafa, and then specifically when you're asked, were you there? You say you were not there. You didn't see anything. So Kylie, you're disqualified as a witness. You are not a witness. As much as Prosecutor Sarah Sammy wants to say to the judge that you're a witness on a body cam, you say you were not there. You say that you got all your information from Tanisha Coleman. Tanisha Coleman tells you, I'm not a witness. That the children are telling me. Tanisha Coleman, you've disqualified yourself as a witness. You are not a witness. You're telling us the children are going to tell you that that you got your information from the children. Well, we just watched the interview of Pharaoh, the 9-year-old child, and said that you lied. On a forensic interview that's sealed by the government, that's sealed by Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, that's sealed by Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. The reason they sealed this video, the reason they sealed this forensic interview, is because the child will tell you those individuals that are being brought into this case are liars. That this is a car accident. There is no argument inside the vehicle. The prosecutor is terrified because there is a Google Nest video inside the apartment. This is what the apartment Google Nest show. They want to tell you that it was Dorothy's idea, that on that day,
because you're going with me.
On that day, that Mustafa is the one that forced Dorothy, forced Empress, forced the boys to stay home, forced his girlfriend, forced Empress to go in the car, that this was his idea. Well, the Google Nest show otherwise. The Google Nest video showed there is no argument, and Dorothy is the one. This is her idea. This is her mom's anniversary. She's the one that's telling Mustafa to go. Here in this video, she's telling Empress to go with her. This is her idea. And then you'll see that Dorothy is asking the boys Do you want to go with me? And they say, no, we want to stay home. Listen.
Because you're going with me to see Grandma for her birthday. Because you're going with me to see Grandma for her birthday.
I have an idea. Do you want to give Grandma your flowers?
That's what I'm going to give her the pink flowers out there that light up.
So you're going to give her that one?
Okay. Then later in the video, you see that Dorothy is asking the boys.
No, I don't care.
Listen.
Okay, get your shoes on. Pharaoh, are you coming with me to the cemetery? It's Grandma's birthday today. If you don't want to, you can stay here. I don't care. I just want to go. No, I don't care. Empress, get your shoes on. Thank you.
You hear Dorothy asking Empress to go. You hear Dorothy asking the boys, and the boys say they don't want to go. This is a Google Nest inside the apartment. Completely contradict what Tanisha Coleman, Kylie Clapp, and Evelyn Horton, aka Amy Hodson, is talking about. There's a Google Nest video. This is why the prosecutor, when the family went to the prosecutor 2.5 years ago and wanted to give her the Google Nest videos, they're telling the prosecutor Amy Ashworth, we have a Google Nest video inside the apartment. It shows us a beautiful relationship. The kids loved Mustafa. Dorothy loved Mustafa. The Commonwealth Amy Ashworth threatened the family of Mustafa with the sheriff office. It's been 2.5 years and they're terrified from the Google Nest videos inside the apartment. I've never seen a case where you're charging someone with murder and you're terrified from the Google Nest video inside the apartment. When we come back on the podcast, before we end the podcast, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Casey. I want to thank Bookie Gold. Thank you for being here, ma'am. I want to thank Dre. Dre, thank you for being here. Lori, Missy, Becky, thank you for being here. Who else is here? Lori. I want to thank Bustos. I want to thank Shelly. I want to thank Farah. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. It's an active chat. Casey, if you can do me a favor, if you can take a snapshot of the chat and post it in our group chat. I want to go over it later. We're going on 3 hours. There's a lot of details. I wish I can go through the chat right now and just talk to everybody and go through it. But Casey, if you can do a snapshot, post it in the group chat on Facebook so I can go through it later and get back to everybody. I love everybody. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to, once we end the podcast, make sure you go on the podcast because the comments don't transfer over, don't carry over. Make sure that you comment the video. And I ask everybody to leave just about 20 comment on the podcast. Ask questions. What do you want us to talk about in the next podcast? And give me feedback. Let me know what you think. This is a lot of details. We stole this file from the Commonwealth Attorney, and we're finding that this Commonwealth Attorney have falsified the whole entire case. Crushed and staged Mustafa's car, cut and muted the dash camera. Now they're saying they have the audio, are using individuals that are manufacturing probable cause in Mustafa's story. They tell you we're not witnesses. You have a prosecutor that lies to the judge in court. She says, I have witnesses. And then you find out that her witnesses are not witnesses. They say they're not witnesses. They say we were not there. The details of this case show this is a car accident. Mustafa's foot is on the brake the whole entire time. There's brake failure. The police inspect Mustafa's car on a body cam. They find brake failure. Mustafa was not speeding, was not reckless. Every piece of evidence showed this is a car accident. That they've lied to the community and said they were arguing inside the car. Seal off the body cam. And then when you watch the body cam, there is no argument inside the car. They've lied about the whole thing. Thank you for being here. When we come back, we're going to continue the Tanisha Coleman forensic interview. And we're halfway through the first body cam. There's a lot of details. I mean, we covered half the first body cam of Tanisha Coleman. And we're going on, 3 hours? 2.5 hours? That's a long podcast. I wanted to do it for 1 hour, but unfortunately, with the amount of details that we have, it's sometimes impossible. But we'll continue to shoot for the 1 hour podcast, but sometimes it's out of our hands. So when we come back, we're going to continue the forensic interview where let's see, where am I at here? Okay. Where Tanisha Coleman tells Robert Drum that Mustafa lied about the whole thing. She tells him he told the hospital, he lied to the hospital. She tells him that she talked to the hospital and the hospital are telling her certain things. And that Mustafa lied to the hospital. Now, unfortunately for Tanisha Coleman, unfortunately for Robert Drum, who's weaponizing these children, he knows the children are in the background. We have all the videos from the hospital and what was going on in the hospital. We have documents that show Mustafa was injected with 50 mcg of fentanyl. We have police reports from Chad Mason that show that Mustafa did not care about his family. But the body cam showed that Mustafa is broken and is crying for his family, is being tortured inside the hospital by this investigator. The body cams that are sealed from this community show that Mustafa was broken and is crying for his family. But the police reports by Chad Mason, by investigator Chad Mason, he wrote that Mustafa did not care. We're going to go through those police body cams inside the hospital. We're going to listen to what Tanisha Coleman is talking about. And we're going to get to the bottom of how they're lying and manufacturing probable cause and how they're weaponizing the children in Mustafa's case. On that note, thank you for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cams. Judge Carol Weimer, you're under the microscope.
In a cell, no trial, no voice. Truth buried deep, but we ain't got no choice. They tried to erase them, break them apart, but we scream free Mustafa from the soul, from the heart. They falsified the paper, twisted every word, turned a car crash to murder, like justice never heard. Dorothy and Empress, angels in the sky. Now they blame a broken man while the real ones lie. A badge and a pen, that's all it took. Signed his fate with a false report and a dirty look.
Wherever the fuck is on the other side, where the fuck that guy goes? Follow him and get him.
And again, scream Mustafa, loud through the chains. Justice corrupted, drowning in pain. From the cell block to the street, we'll never stop till the walls fall down and the charges drop. Free Mustafa, it's more than a name, it's a movement. let the innocent fly. Amy Ashworth, playing judge and the jury in a county so dirty, soaked in fury. Police and the courts all in on the plot. They framed an innocent man and left his soul to rot. But his family's out marching, banners held high, while supporters flood timelines, refusing to lie. They want silence, we give them the storm. Truth blazing through like justice reborn. Every post, every chant, every sleepless night is a spark in the dark that's ready to ignite. This ain't just a song, it's a battle cry for every soul locked up while the guilty lie. We free Mustafa, loud through the chains. Justice corrupted, drowning in pain. From the cell block to the street, we'll never stop till the walls fall down and the charges drop. Free Mustafa, it's more than a name, it's a movement, a mission, exposing the game to Trump and Cash. Hear our cry, bring the truth to light, let the innocent fly. 2 years